Hello, welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back if you have. My intention is unity and oneness and the highest levels of love light. I just want to go into a little flow and maybe even some light language. Let's see what comes through, and we'll see kind of what the energies feel like today. So what I'm doing is I'm actually seeing things coming in right now. So I'm literally seeing these light particles that look like little drops of dew, raining down from the sky. And they look like little rainbows, little bubble rainbows, tiny little, and I'm hearing photons. So there's something going on, I would assume, coming from the sun, but I'm also sensing that this is a merge. What I'm seeing is a merge of the earth and the sun and the water, all the elements kind of working together to create these little bubbles of energy. So we have this idea or concept that the photons that are coming in, the photonic light, okay, so now I'm going to go into flow about that. The photonic light is enhancing the template or the structure that the body is encased within. For the body is not just skin. It is actually a template or signature series of information that is gathered in a particular frequency or harmonic that creates a shape. It creates an outline, if you will. And there are multiple facets in which the body is held, or components, or I'm seeing the components have a reference to the elements, composition, that the body then is enhanced by. And so we've been in a structure or encased within a structure of lower vibrational content, potentially a lower package, we'll say, but we've had this incoming packet of light information or codes that are essentially applicable, applicable, and I'm seeing it's making us more pliable. So it's a play on words. And so we are being enhanced at this moment. And so this is an ongoing structuring, a structural upgrade. And I'm seeing structural ethereal upgrade. So the body may feel as if it is making some adjustments in the linear packaging that it is encased within. Yet there are also adjustments happening that are beyond the realm of the seen. And so that's a play on words. I just did a video that I will share soon where I was talking about the scene from a movie, what has been seen in the past, literally with our eyes, and talking about just different essences of the brain and the cerebral cortex. So much is being upgraded, and as we go through this this new sound signature, we may feel different at times. We may feel as if our access to certain aspects of ourselves has been renewed. We may feel sometimes a little lost in the dark because we're not quite sure how to operate within this new light spark, this new frequency that is being offered. For even though it may seem that it is dark at times and that there are many scenes that we are watching unfold around us that hold a certain time stamp or signature of old based versions of reality, we are trying to or attempting to show that a brand new reality has seeded itself, and you are seated within it, and you are seeded within it. And therefore, the things that we water in this new version of reality that is also encased and encapsulated within some of the old is creating an ability for us to harvest certain energies that have been unharvestable before, for they had been utilized for other people's harvests or other, what I'm seeing are other plans, other people's plans. And so the light that is streaming in holds a certain frequency and a creative source, one might say a creative source seed, that allows us to enhance, I'm just seeing a lot, our view, how we see things. I'm seeing bifold to trifold. I'm seeing our vision is going to have a different, by vision, I see this as a multidimensional meaning. So what we're envisioning, how we're envisioning it, what we're seeing physically, how we're perceiving it in the physical, how we're interpreting it, and what it is that we see from there. And that's all kind of a play on words. I'm also seeing see as in a musical note, a harmony, what we're feeling in response to what we're seeing. So we really are going through a completely different arena, playing field than we've ever had access to before. So as we allow these, I'm basically being shown, if you guys have ever seen The Matrix, which if you haven't, highly recommend it. And there's these lines in it, that's the code that is inside of the Matrix. What I'm being shown is it did look like that maybe, but now it's being enhanced with rainbows. And these rainbows look like literally aurora light, but even more luminescent than that. And what this is doing is it's doing a lot. So I'm just being shown it can create, for some people, it can feel overstimulating, or it can create a sense of overstimulation. We may find a sense of boredom with certain things that we used to feel were very stimulating. We may feel unable to focus on some of the things that we feel like we should be focusing on. We may find ourselves having difficulty viewing certain things that might have been really easy to view before. We may find certain foods no longer feel, I'm hearing comfort foods, they no longer feel comfortable for us to eat. I'm being shown like a big meatloaf. Like somebody might have said, I could really go for a meatloaf and mashed potatoes. And now they're like, I can't even eat meat. But there might be others who kind of go the opposite direction for some reason because they might need to enhance their protein intake. And by the way, this is not to say that you should or should not be vegetarian or vegan. This is just across the board talking about the energetic qualities that people might be feeling in their physical bodies. And I'm hearing the mental stability of some is going to be in question and feel questionable, because when we start to access more recesses of the brain, more regions of the brain, when we feel more access to more, it can sometimes make us feel unstable. It can make us feel unsure of ourselves. What is it that we're seeing? Why do we see things differently? Why am I feeling like I'm allergic to this food, or I'm allergic to this person, or my favorite TV show I can't even look at anymore? Because we're making adaptations to this new reality. So what I'm essentially being shown is the layers of the reality. So in the beginning of this message, I was shown the layers of the body. So we have the physical, but we have this light body that's around us. We have ethereal, the emotional, the causal body, all those layers, like a nesting doll. So each of those is kind of receiving this light information, and it's essentially weaving into the physical. And so we are kind of feeling it all around us. And that can make us feel heightened stimulation and sensitivity to everything. Now, that picture of the nesting dolls is also how I've been shown the dimensions are also. And I know there's a lot of different ideas and concepts around the fifth dimension. And once you're there, that's not necessarily where I want to go with this video, although I think it would be fun to dive into that in a channeling down the road. I see it more as um, layers on top of layers. I see it as layered cake. The layer cake is all one cake, even though you can see the separate layers, it's not separate. So that's my interpretation of these dimensions. And from what I can see, and this is just my perspective, we can fluctuate. We might maintain a higher frequency, therefore stay in a higher dimensional vibration more consistently than maybe someone else. We're still interacting though with people who are in a lower dimension sometimes. Although from another perspective, once you get so far apart in density, that interaction doesn't happen as much anymore. For whatever reason, this is what I'm seeing. So what I'm kind of seeing is it's like not a layover, an overlay. It's a layover. I'm hearing jet lag. So apparently we're going to play with this a little bit. So I'm seeing a play on words with this. Jet lag, people are going to feel jet lagged. Where did the time go? Why can't I seem to catch up? Everything went too fast. Now it seems like it's going really slow. What's going on? But I'm also hearing the layover, like kind of being stuck between two dimensions. And I kind of talked about this in a video I did a couple of days ago about existing within different dimensions. So if you feel called to check that one out. And what I'm seeing is as these realities lay over each other, they create a braid, they create tendrils, there's fibers, and all this light kind of begins to code. What I'm hearing is coat of many colors, codons. It begins to create a color spectrum and a type of system that allows for more support. And this is more support for our brothers and sisters too, that maybe aren't necessarily ready to jump into the fifth dimension or whatever we want to label these higher fields as, but are feeling the tickle. So I get a picture of parallel realities. When have you ever seen the movies about time travel where somebody goes into a cave and then they end up coming out in another time? They go back into that cave, somebody's looking for them in that cave, and they can kind of sense that someone's on the other side, but they're not able to see them, and vice versa. It's a little bit like that. Like a lot of people are sensing that something is here, or I feel everything's different. I'm getting goosebumps. It's because it's here. We are already held within this dimensional frequency. And the more consistently we sustain a higher frequency, the more time we spend in that dimension. And I'm really inviting everybody to get away from labeling density and dimension. And this is what that means. And that's not what I'm here to do. Because from my perspective, we're not here to skip that connecting flight. We're not here to skip the layover. We need it sometimes in order to have a conversation with somebody on that bench who's stuck and totally missed their connecting flight. We're here to create that bond. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps and a little emotional. We're here to be that bridge. We didn't necessarily come here to skip over everything and just jump into the fifth dimension. What I'm being kind of shown is been there, done that, and it doesn't work for this particular version of our reality from the perspective that I'm being shown. So this can be frustrating for some, and it also can be a letdown for some who feel like, oh, I'm in the fifth dimension and everything's sunshine and rainbows, and then something massive happens in their life that they weren't expecting or that they hadn't integrated yet or whatever it might be. And all of a sudden they're back in they feel stuck. And this is just what I'm hearing as part of this restoration. I'm being shown when you're restoring an old house and you're taking it down to the frame, you still need the frame. And there might be sections that unexpectedly collapse or unexpectedly can be saved. And that's kind of where we're at in this process from what I'm being shown. And I keep hearing restoration. It's the restoration process. So the restoration process isn't about us ditching the old frame and tearing everything down. I'm hearing there's some good bones to this. And the bones are the human as the conductor, as the crystalline bringers of light and integrators of shadow. So it's this beautiful acquisition that I keep referencing. Acquiring our new abilities while creating an acquisition or a merger with some of the old that essentially gives us good bones, and it doesn't make it to where we jumped and didn't have anything to build, or excuse me, the word is sustain, I guess, to remain sustainable. So a lot of, and that can be referred to as spiritual bypassing too. And those were two separate topics. Just because someone has something come up in their lives that it's unexpected, such as a death of a loved one or sickness or something like that, doesn't mean they were bypassing. It just means that something shifted in that timeline, or a particular experience was brought forward in order to potentially enhance or create a particular, I'm hearing, sound in the field that was potentially necessary for a stronger bridge. So the word I keep hearing is just be really patient with ourselves. I've said this so many times. And the more patient we are with ourselves, the easier it is to feel more streamlined, and the easier it is to move with grace, and to recognize when we are not necessarily aligned with this new frequency. Sometimes we're hanging on to part of the old house that really needs to go. Sometimes we're wanting to get rid of aspects that are necessary in order to create a foundation. I'm being called to use an example. I have a beautiful client who had somebody come in and took out to do a restructure or a restoration on her house or condominium, and they took out a supporting wall, and the supporting wall had to be put back in. It looked great and it seemed perfect, but structurally it wasn't sound. And that's a play on words, and I'm being called to play with that just for a moment, because our reality is built around the structure of sound and the harmonics of it. And I'm hearing the equivalency. Oh, that's all a big play on words. So I will share some plays on words very soon. But if there are chunks missing, they're not going to hold together the architecture. It's not a symphony, right? It becomes more of a disjointed harmonic, which doesn't harmonize. And what I'm hearing is it doesn't equalize, and it doesn't give us the opportunity to realize what's missing. So there's a lot of things going on right now. So being patient with ourselves and recognizing as this new branch of our tree is growing, there is going to be growing discontent, discomfort, and also moments of complete dissolution. But also I see simultaneously feelings of expansion, feelings of moments of great activations and ahas, and great moments of inner peace and love, and also simultaneously compassion, because as this is all happening simultaneously, there's a lot going on that is being taken down, and there are sometimes those joints that are holding together the structure are put under a lot of pressure. And the pressure is sometimes seems overwhelming, but that's not necessarily really the truth. It can feel overwhelming, but it doesn't really mean that it is. So I'm hearing David Bowie, Under Pressure. And so, yeah, that's the energy update. That's ongoing. It's reconstruction. It's all of this. So we really are being called to also do what we need to do, as I always say, to get into the heart, to feel into whatever our needs are. I'm hearing to have our needs met. So when that's a play on words. Wow, nice to meet you, need. Wow, you're showing me that I need more kale in my life. Kale, yeah. Thank you for showing me that. You just met your new need. And then what happens is when you start to acknowledge these things, you're met with a greater, I'm just showing, you'll be shown more needs that need to be met. And it'll give us the opportunity to open to moving with a bit more continuity instead of disjointedness. So that's the message for right now. Prayers go out to all of those on earth willing to receive them, for healing, for love, for expansion, for bliss, for joy, for compassion. There are people who are really going through a lot right now. Loss of loved ones, where our prayers go out to Maui. Our prayers go out to everyone all over the world who have been going through massive amounts of sadness. And so this is the time for us to come together. What better time than now? It is not the time for us to submit to the, I'm basically saying people to turn in their submission form and say, I'm out. There will be people choosing to do that. But for those of us who are here to create the good bones and are here to be that bridge, this is it. This is when the pavement hits the road, so to speak. We are creating both at the same time. So we are creating the road. We are paving the road to on how we navigate in this new reality. So letting go of some of the ways we used to do it is really important right now. And picking up, I'm seeing just carrying less baggage, picking up what we need and letting go of the rest. And then our needs will be met. Things that we need will come forward, and we will be able to meet them with I'm hearing open arms, and I'm hearing journey on this journey. Open arms. Okay, in love and light, guys. Namaste. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, I did promise a little light language, so let's do that. A little light language to help these light photons maybe integrate a little bit easier. Te shiku nineki bai shuku ne bai kun ahi shine kina ayaha kuna titi bai wahai shi diti kumak shikuye hene diti shit ene ma uahete tiki ka ahu shine bai kuniti shu nikushititi ait imakunehe Yahat ishti kiri it ikimaha no titi pi wa shu kiti Yalak ushine tutuku baeshune. Yashi itikuya tuku mahai. Tishukuya hat itishtu natiti baekune. titipa kunae. Shukui at ishienna, ti shusheneki, di shusheneki baishienna. Yahat iat yashuya yakune, yitiaha ishi anati pa et ukine. Nishua wati titi tishine mak inihi. Taking a nice deep breath into the heart, filling it up. As you exhale, letting gratitude and appreciation spill out of that breath, spill out of the heart, through the body, out into Mother Earth and out to our fellow brothers and sisters, plants and animals, elements, and all versions of ourselves. In love and light. Namaste.